semester is, we called it Fairytale Jumble, and we have 6 students, so it's a heavy load on each of them, and they have done an awesome job. They picked their favorite fairy tales at the start of the semester, and we narrowed it down. We had a huge long list, and then we narrowed it down to 3. And what we decided to do, partly their idea, and we've helped kind of bring it into life, was to tell you the real fairy tales that you've never heard before. So, you're about to see 3 acts, short acts, each one about 15-20 minutes, and between each one, they'll change clothes, and we'll have about a 5-minute break where you can go use the restroom, get something from the bar if you want. But each act includes a fairy tale you may know, and then the retelling of it, okay? So they've helped us kind of create these stories, and they've worked so hard. It's really ambitious for them because this is the longest language I think any of them has ever had to take on, and they've done a great job with it. Before we get started, I want to thank someone who, without him, nothing happens here. This is Jesse Lozano, who is an amazing accompanist, and is so good with our students, is patient with me and with Adam and with them. So thank you, Jesse. So we will get started now with stage 1 of Fairytale Jumbles.
Once upon a time, in a city far away, there lived a mama pig and her 3 little pigs. Their names were Goldie.
Hi, Goldie!
Kim.
That's me!
And Brunhilda.
Yo, yo, yo!
When the little pigs were a little less little, their mother decided that it was time they headed out into the world.
It's time for y'all to head out into the world!
She told them that they should go off to find their own city apartments and seek their fortunes.
Once y'all get some money, go to town square and deposit it at the piggy bank.
Ha! I get it. Piggy bank. Never mind. On with their story. The 3 pigs gave their mother a hug, and off they went into the world until they reached their fortune.
Which way shall we go? There are 3 paths. Why don't we just take one?
I'll go this way.
3 roads diverge in the city, and I took the one less traveled. And that, my friends, that has made all the difference.
Thank you, Pim, for that. Anywho, the little piggies each made their way down a road and sought out a home. Brunhilda picked one made out of brick and mortar. Pim decided to pick a town home made of sticks. And Goldie selected an apartment made of straw because she was lactose intolerant.
It's so true. Milk makes me gassy. Question over there, Goldie. What does that have to do with anything?
I'm not sure. It's just part of the story. Shall we keep on keeping on?
Oh, fine.
So each little pig finished a selection of their home, and they went inside for the night, remembering to deadlock the door, or the straw, if you will, before they went to sleep in order to protect themselves from the big bad wolf.
Hold up. There's a wolf in the story? There's always a wolf in the story. Remember the stories Mumsy used to tell us? Little Red Riding Hood and Red Peter.
Excuse me.
Hold on. Don't you think it's a little strange that we're having a conversation when we're all supposed to be in different locations? I mean, I'm in one part of the city, you are, so are you. So how are we talking to each other? ESP!
Excuse me. I think that you'd better get inside now.
Extrasensory e-talk? I don't think it exists. Besides, if they didn't want us talking, they should have put us so close together on stage. What stage?
Hey, pigs. Hey.
What stage? Why, all the world's a stage. And each pig and piggy merely their player. They have their the big bad wolf!
I warned you, pigs. The pigs ran in their homes, then locked their doors, and peeked out their windows, just as the wolf skipped up to Goldie's apartment of straw.
Skip? I stalk and prowl in the dark. I don't skip.
It says skip.
Fair enough. Can you start it back?
Sure. Just as the wolf skipped up to Goldie's house of straw, the wolf came and knocked on the door.
No one's home. Someone must be home today when no one's home. Darn it!
And then the wolf and pig began a rhyme-off.
Little pig, let me in. Not by the harmony, chin, chin, chin. Then I'll huff and I'll blow your home down. Then I'll put on my mufflers and wear a great frown.
And then the wolf drew in a great breath and blew as hard as he could, and the entire apartment fell down. Use your imagination. That won't actually fall apart. But we'll all suspend disbelief and say the apartment fell, and just in time, the little pig ran out the back door and was off down the road to find Pim. She reached Pim just before the wolf did, where Pim let her in and locked her own sticky door. That's sticky as in made of sticks, not tacky. Tacky as in gummy, not as in tasteless. The wolf and pigs then went through the same process, but since you've seen it before, we'll just speed it up.
Little pig, let me in. Not by the harmony, chin, chin, chin. Then I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your home down. Then I'll put on my mufflers and wear a great frown.
The wolf then blew down. The wolf then blew down. Suspension of disbelief, please. The sticky, tasteful, non-gummy townhome, just as Pim and Goldie ran out the back door and made a break down the road to Brunella's red brick home. Brunella let them in, locked the door, they all took turns staring through the window as the wolf came dancing up to them.
Wait a minute, dancing?
What he said? Sorry. Staring through the peephole as the wolf came dancing up to them. The wolf then began his rhyming intimidation. Little pigs, oh pigs, let me come in. Never, no never, you'll make us din din. Fine, fine, here goes, bring it on. And then the wolf tried his hardest, but just couldn't move an inch. It was too strong. He decided that he would scale the wall and come down the chimney, but just as he was starting to climb the wall, someone grabbed him by the scruff of his neck and threw him to the ground. It was Mama Pig, and she had just finished her Krav Maga class and was
That's my pigs again. Cat on a pretzel, dip you in rust, and throw you in the river.
The wolf And so the wolf twirled his way off stage away from the pigs.
Come on. Twirl, wolf, twirl!
Happily ever after.
All right, good evening. What you just witnessed was the telling of the story, The Three Little Pigs, a fairy tale familiar to almost anyone in the world. However, tonight we are going to take you on an exploration in which you'll discover that this story, along with many other fairy tales that you think you know, are a lie. I'm your host, Adam Delka, and I ask that you prepare yourselves for a shock as we continue with tonight's episode of
Fairytale Jumbles!
How, you ask? Do we know the truth about these stories? Well, I'll tell you. Many of you have heard of the Brothers Grimm, and some of you may even know that their names were Jacob and Wilhelm, and that they were from Germany. But what no one knew until recently is that they had good reason to suspect that their writing was being tampered with in Germany. And so, in their youth, they traveled to America, where they visited New York and buried a copy of their book, Fairy Tales, deep in the ground. Sure enough, the stories they had written were twisted around and turned around by their German editor and lost to the world until now. Now, 200 years later, in the middle of New York City, this book has been unearthed. And we are able to bring you the authentic tales of the Brothers Grimm. So, without further ado, we bring you the true telling of the Three Little Pigs, originally entitled, Some Pigs Are Mean and Some Wolves Are Vegan.
We begin again. Once upon a time, in a city far away, there was a mama pig and she had three little pigs. Their names were Goldie,
That's my name. Don't wear it out.
Pim,
What did you just say about me?
and Brunhilde.
You!
The three little pigs weren't always very nice. In fact, sometimes they were just mean. The mother had gotten tired of their bad behavior and decided it was time for tough love.
I'm kicking you out. What, Mumsy? Why, Mumsy? How could you do this, Mumsy?
But their mother recounted to them their most recent bad choices.
Go out and sneak out and go dancing. But you leave dirty clothes all over the house. And Hilda, you got an F on your pig class. Already say, Yumsy May. That's it. The only way you'll learn is that you move out.
And so she gave them each a hug, and the three little pigs headed down the road, and they were in a particularly rotten state of mind when they ran into their neighbor Wolf a block later. Oh.
Hello, Goldie, Ted, and Brunhilde. Where are you off to this fine afternoon? None of your business, Wolf. Wouldn't you like to know? Nowhere you're invited.
Wolf was a lonely sort of fellow and hoped for friends. When at the age of 5, he told his mother and sisters that he had decided for physical and ethical reasons he was going to be a vegan. They cast him out immediately.
What sort of wolf won't eat meat? Poor excuse for a wolf.
or cruel. That is a poor representation of the norm. Not normal as a person, but the normal or acceptable standard of a thing.
We got it!
All Bad Wolf really wanted was to be like the pigs and have them for friends. And they told him so in a song. And so Bad Wolf skipped off happily, looking forward to the fun of new friends.
Chinny Chin Chin? What a weirdo! Goldie, what are you doing? You don't like Bad Wolf, and you have no apartment, and you don't know how to even cook. I got a plan.
And so Goldie explained her plan. She told them that the only way to move back home and be taken care of by their mother was to prove that they weren't safe in their own. And what could make them not safe? A wolf. And sure, that wolf claimed to be a vegan, but what if he was caught in the act of harassing 3 innocent little pigs? Maybe even trying to break down their doors. Wouldn't that look awfully suspicious? Now they began to understand the brilliance of Goldie's plan. That wolf would be chased out of the city, their mother would demand they come home, and they would have their way and fooled everyone. They laughed in mean delight at the plan.
Ha ha ha! Ha ha ha! Ho ho ho! Sorry, wrong one. Ha ha ha!
They laughed, and they all rolled in the mud first. Pigs have a very strange way of celebrating. And then they headed down the block, and where the road split into 3, they each picked a path and headed further into the understanding that they were to find the shabbiest, filthiest places they could. Goldie found one made of straw, Pim found one made of sticks, and Brunhilde, who hadn't quite understood the directions because she had mud in her ears, bought a lovely town hall of brick, stone, and reinforced steel. 6 o'clock rolled around, and down the sidewalk to Goldie's home came Bad Wolf, carrying some flowers, and so excited about dinner that he was dancing. He knocked on the door.
No one's home. That's a silly joke, Goldie. If no one was home, who would be telling me no one was home? by the hair of my chinny chin chin. Then you'll huff and you'll puff and you'll blow my home down.
Bad Wolf was very confused by this. He was a peaceful fellow who would never blow someone's door down intentionally. But it just so happened that the fresh bouquet of geraniums he had picked were tickling his nose, and he started to feel very sneezy. Achoo! And with that sneeze, the entire straw apartment fell to the ground, and Bad Wolf saw Goldie running down the path and away from him. Do you remember the suspension of disbelief in the other version of the story? Same rules apply here.
You must be a progressive dinner.
And although he found a progressive dinner with no food service first location odd, he followed up the goal. But at Pim's house, there was simply a routine of sneeze and sneeze, tease and sneeze, and by the time they all arrived at Hilda's home, Bad Wolf began to realize that this was all a very mean joke, and he sat down by the side of the building and shook his head sadly. He was sitting here when Mama Pig, who had come to visit her children, walked up to the town hall.
What's wrong, Wolf?
Before he could answer, the little pigs interrupted.
This bad wolf flew down my house, Mumsy. And he did the same to me, Mumsy. And he will do it to me, Mumsy. He's a big bad wolf! What do you have to say for that? They didn't mean to be big or bad. It's just that they invited me over for dinner. You know I'm sad and lonely. He wanted to eat us, Mumsy. Gobble us. Have us for dinner day.
But Bad Wolf then explained to Mama Pig that he would never eat a pig. It was a vegan, and although Mama Pig couldn't get her to explain what a vegan really was and how it was different from a vegetarian, she understood enough to know that her little pigs were up to no good again. And so she disowned them, and she adopted Bad Wolf, who was a very good and devoted son. And the three little pigs lived in the same one crowded house unhappily ever after.
And there you have it, brought to you straight from the real book of Grimm Fairy Tales by your fine fairy tale buster troupe of actors, the real story of the Three Little Pigs. Now we'll take a short 5-minute break from our programming in which you can use the restroom and visit the bar, and we'll be back with more Fairytale Jumbles to come.